Hello and welcome to the third episode on the Royal Enfield Continental GT Cup, a film series that we here at Podium are making. We want to show you what pure racing looks like. In the first episode, we saw how 373 applicants were winnowed down to the final 18 racers. And in the second episode, these 18 racers took to the track for the first time to show what they're capable of. And at the front was the Thrissur Express, that's Enfield and Allwin, and right at the front was Anish Shetty. In the Continental GT Cup, everyone gets the same machine, so any difference between the racers is a matter of pure skill. But they say racing is a cruel mistress, and part of the cruelty comes from the spotlight. It always falls on the leader. That's why racers like Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez are huge stars. And therefore people like Tito Rabat, who put an incredible amount of effort and commitment into racing, don't really get their share of the limelight. And in this episode, we're going to focus on the struggle.
You can see John Mir, who was the champion last year, struggling this year with his bike. So who doesn't struggle? It is all a mindset. You have to tune your mind that I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to complain about it.
The Royal Enfield Continental GT Cup has people at the front doing well. But there's others who are just as dedicated, just as skilled, just as fast, trying to get to the front.
These riders are all in here on pure merit and fast lap times.
A couple of them are there who finished in 5th, 6th and 7th are also in good lap times. So they also might get into the top bunch.
And that brings us to Bharat Balan, or BB as I like to call him. BB is the heaviest rider in pit lane.
So I'm Bharat Balan, I'm 27. So I'm from Coimbatore. If it's not challenging, it's not worth doing it. So I always took that up as a challenge. Managing my full-time job as a software engineer and racing as well. So I always managed to find the time to do this, and I want to prove that I can still be fast even if I do not have the raw talent that some of the other riders here have. I'm an only child. So my dad is a farmer and my mom helps him with this stuff. So when I got into racing a little bit, they were hesitant at first, like what if you crash, what will happen and stuff. So once I showed them how a leather suit works and the boots, how much protection they offer, they were convinced. So maybe the first 1 or 2 crashes, they were a little worried. After I crashed more and more and like I got up every time, so they were like, okay, so it's become the normal for them. So
oh, nice.
Now they don't worry about it too much. I'm really thankful to my company, which is Cisco. They offer a really great work-life balance, so they don't mind me racing. So everyone, all of my colleagues know this, even my manager, they support me wholeheartedly.
Nice.
This year I got my first podium in the Pro Stock 300 1 to 4 gun. Nice. So they were really happy about it.
He is able to catch other riders in the corners, but he says it's on the straights that they pass him back.
Last time around, first couple of laps were really good, but as soon as the later stages of the race, I started fading.
On the other side, there is Jayanth. Jayanth is generally soft-spoken, he's a little bit reserved, he's like a vulnerable racer almost.
My name is Jayanth Pratipati and I'm from Hyderabad. My age is 24. When I got my first bike, I started riding very fast on the roads. I crashed a couple of times. Few guys from Hyderabad city have started practicing on a local go-kart track. And that is when I got to know that there is something which is a safe environment, and then you can go practice and have fun. As soon as I came to the first L1, L2 certification run by an academy, Gusto Racing, I was just hooked to it, and I was like, if I'm supposed to speed, I'm going to do it on the racetrack and not on the roads. Apart from racing, I work with Dell as a finance analyst. Dad is retired now. He used to work with the central government as a development officer with Oriental Insurance. And my mom is a homemaker. Still not supportive enough, to be honest, because that's the Indian mentality, because the racing is like still picking up. But then yeah, now they're comfortable with it. They know that this guy is safe and he knows what he's doing. So
he showed his mettle in the first race itself, coming from behind to take a stunning third position. But in the second race, in round 1, he had a crash, and that's left a haunting memory that he's still struggling to overcome. So having spent the evening sitting at the last corner, the corner that troubled him, Jayant is ready to race again.
I have grown comfortable with the bike now, so I'm at ease riding the bike, and I've understood the bike completely, the way she handles and the way it responds when we throw it into corners and all of that.
He was still middle of the pack, but now he had a plan, and all he had to do was execute it.
If I come here early, I'll just go for a track walk, and that will help me decide this is where I need to do the corrections and all of that. So I think that will help me.
Meka Viduraj, unlike Jayant, comes from a racing family. He's won enough times to make himself a reputation as a front runner.
Myself, Meka Viduraj from Andhra Pradesh. 2011, how it all started. I used to race on the roads.
And then Viduraj Senior saw young Meka tearing up the streets.
When I came back home and he was like, come sit and let's talk. I was like, what happened? Then he said, if you want to show your skill, I'll get you to the racetrack. Do your best. That's how I went to Chennai and started racing. I always wanted to go fast. I love that field. Doing a business regarding media. Nowadays, the fitness has become, the mainstream. I work out 2 hours a day, and I maintain a diet also.
He's back after having a really troublesome first round of the season, where he had a crash very early on, took a severe injury to the knee, and had to retire from the racing completely. He does have the pace, he just has a bigger adjustment path than the other racers. Meka is only riding this motorcycle for the first time again. It's a big change. Can he overcome?
Race, I don't think so is going to get too faster, because everyone will be thinking of conserving their tires and brakes.
Going. Waking up before the sunrise. Never too much for me to handle, like I'm tongue-tied. Sky's the limit with me and you have a fun time. So ride with me if you gon' only take one ride.
I'll follow them for a few laps, look what they are doing, where they are slow, and there I can place the move.
All day I'm on beast mode. Push it to the max, everywhere the beast go.
I don't think there will be anything left. I mean, we give whatever is there. Because the official practice and qualifying, we were saving on laps or something. But race, it can't happen that. You go all out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're all set down for the JK Tyre presents Royal Enfield Continental GT Cup. You can't get better than this. You can't get go retro racing more than this.
3, 2, 1. You can run, but I'ma hit you like. You know I'm coming when I get you like.
Zeal much better than the last time. But Sudhir Kulladkar already moved up to position number 5.
But I'ma hit you like.
So we wanted to take the race slowly and then fight it out for the last couple of laps.
Tick, tick, boom. Man, they try to get the best of me, but no, I got the recipe. If you wanna go test me, you will lose.
Got a mistake by the bike in corner 5. But on the rider, Meka Viduraj, he overtook me.
I had a decent start from 6th. I was, increasing the pace slowly.
Meka Viduraj, he's going to make Anish Damodaran going to sweat a little bit.
Got a healthy fight for third position.
my way, boy, I'm a bust back. Ain't no ifs, ands, or maybes, I can say I'ma crush that.
I stayed behind Anish for 6 laps, then I overtook.
As we speak, it's Allwin Xavier who's moved up ahead of Anish Damodar. Bike number 10, as you just saw on your screen. He's moved up ahead with Anish dropping down to second.
I'm off the hook in the Richter light. I cannot hear you.
Me, Meka and Sudhir had a good fight for third position.
Well, Meka Viduraj possibly gambled way too much. Stays at number 5 now.
Think you seen it all and you ain't seeing me, dog. I'm standing tall and looking in your eyes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot miss this finish for sure.
In the last lap, I made a move on him and
Cause I'm glorious, a winner like I scored the winning drive. Look at all the people, they want more. That's my winning form.
2 corners to go. The time is running out for Allwin Xavier to make any surprise. Can Anish Shetty hold him back?
Dig deep, never give up.
Allwin Xavier is going to lose this one, but what a win. Come on, everybody, clap your hands and race winner again. Anish Shetty takes it, but the fight for the third is still on. Enfield should take this one. And Meka Viduraj comes in at number 4.
I'm off the hook in the Richter light. I cannot hear you.
Winning is not a matter. Finishing in podium is a matter.
When I get you like, I'm off the hook in the Richter light. I cannot hear you. You can run, but I'ma hit you like. You know I'm coming when I get you like. I'm off the hook in the Richter light. The clock's ticking, tick, tick.
Tomorrow full fight.
Full fight,
Oh, you're next. Full fight.
First in the pit lane we'll fight, then in the garage, then in the racetrack.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. Best of luck for tomorrow. From literally the other end of India comes a young racer with a dream. Revat is from Kashmir. He has to cross the world's 7th largest country just to get to the action. Revat has shown a natural turn of pace that should put him higher in the standings than he's currently able to achieve.
My name is Revat. I'm 22 years old and I'm from Jammu and Kashmir. So I used to search for racing schools and racing academies in India and how to start racing career in India, and through online through Google I found some racing schools and that's how I got introduced. I used to ride fast on straight, so I was like, I'll be fast over here. And when I rode for the first time, it was like a completely different experience. My dad is a government employee and mom is a businesswoman. First of all, they didn't take it seriously, but after that they were like, okay. Then my mom came down with me, she saw me riding over here and she was like, okay, they are really happy that I'm doing something different out of the box and they support me too.
And for this weekend, the quiet Kashmiri boy came in with a plan.
I worked on my braking thing and the body position. There are a few guys who are going faster, but in the initial 4-5 laps, if they again started fighting and all, then Anish might run away again. They should think about it. They should not fight, because if they are fighting, he'll get the opportunity to run away.
While Revat is relatively new to racing, Pradeep is not. He's an experienced racer and his easy manner hides his steel will and his razor-sharp focus.
I'm Pradeep and I'm from Bangalore. We are 4 people in the family, me, my mom, dad and my younger brother. Me and Joel Joseph are friends since 16 years, so we are childhood friends. So he took me first time for the track and then I rode 2 track days with him. That was way back in 2006. In 2015, the Jigsaw Cup, first round and second round was out of there was too many entries, so I couldn't get a chance. So then I rode round 3, round 4 and round 5. And after that again I had to take a break because of my personal commitments. 16 and 17 I didn't ride. So 18, by then I was 31 years. So then I decided, see, one make is not my cup of tea. I mean, there was not much manufacturers who were there at that time. So then I bought a bike for myself and I built it for Pro Stock 300 to 400. So then Joel Joseph started helping me to build that bike. So 18 I rode 2 rounds in Nationals.
Pradeep is Anish Shetty's teammate outside of the GT Cup and they've raced a lot together. And in pit lane, they're usually found together.
I have a couple of things in my mind to execute, so depending on how the race goes, I'll be accordingly using one of it.
definitely it will be a close race.
I'm just going in with an open mind, stay on the inside and maybe pass few people.
So I have few sectors to improve. Maybe the gearings I figured out. I will try that today and we'll see where we are.
I don't need a weapon when I got these to stop these who plotting to try to take my spot.
Front bench is 0.5 seconds faster, they will make a gap and it's very hard to close the gap.
So the tire life is pretty much there.
It can last this race, I guess.
It won't be wise to just abuse it and see it later.
Turn 1, I want to stay behind pole man. I'll learn what things are doing. And after 2-3 laps,
boom! All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Where we say the 5-second board comes out and says, in the words of Martin Brundle, lights out, and away we go. It's a good start for Allwin Xavier. Not a very great start for Anish as he tries to defend on the sideline. Tries to take him on the outside as he comes down. Little bit of move from Hebraj as we come down. Allwin Xavier right now.
Slower riders just dive bombing there and just like taking up all the lines.
The problem with being in the middle of the pack is that your struggle is bigger. Because the guys at the front, they've already gotten through the bottleneck of turn 1. In the middle of the pack, anything goes, and that's just how it turned out.
The rider in front of me was clearly lacking pace as well. He just closed the door.
The red flags would come out and Pradeep had his own crash and that had implications.
Both bikers acknowledging one thing, same thing, and I think it's a red flag that's been waved.
Adequate precaution that's taken to ensure medical attention is immediately available to the racers or the bikers taking part in the National Racing Championship with the presence of ambulances, fully equipped ambulances. There is the safety crew that's available on site. Seems to be a bit of debris on the racetrack as well, which is what is being cleared now at the moment.
Nearly 2 bikers no longer will be taking part in this race.
Clearly half the bike ahead of him, then he didn't let her just touch my leg. Oh, so now you can't compete in this? Yeah, unfortunately it's very hard.
Lokesh has now just been taken to the hospital.
I'm happy to report that this rider's injuries are relatively minor. But Pradeep's weekend, it's ruined because there's no points coming from this race his way at all.
Red flag actually was the major hurdle.
Some unsensible moves actually affects the whole strategy.
In the middle of the heated action at the front, where Anfal, Allwin and Anish were going for it, they had a great race 1. In race 2, there was a crash, there was a red flag, and the race was restarted as a 4-lap race.
Now, they've lined up again on the starting grid for a 4-lap race, remember. Keep an eye on the lights, they come on, the 5 lights. They go off and so do the bikers down the straight. It's a restart to this Royal Enfield Continental GT Cup race.
A 4-lap race is just a sprint to the finish. There's no real strategy here.
This is first time for me 4 lap race. I know no one will wait for strategy and full push.
I expected a lot of things to surprises to drop in, and it happened. So
Enfield Akhtar still the race leader. Allwin Xavier second, but for how long? No, he's fallen back to 4th.
They're running the same set of tyres for the second weekend, so the tyres are at the weakest they've ever been. And these boys were going faster than they've ever been as well, because there were a number of 1 minute 17-second lap times that were posted, which has never happened in this series before.
Now 2 laps to go.
Second race, I did 17.3 last lap.
Third, no problem at all for him. There's a big gap between him. And Anish has done it. He's done it on that corner. Taking the inside and taking the race lead. Enfield Akhtar will be mightily disappointed.
But great stuff from Anish Shetty.
Very well done by Anish as he comes in through the final corner to go on and take the checkered flag for the 4th time in this category. 4 wins out of 4. Enfield Akhtar will have to settle for second. Allwin Xavier will have to settle for 3rd.
So while Anish Shetty did get to climb to the top step of the podium, collect the trophy and the check for winning, it would only last for 5 minutes.
Last lap, Anish moved Enfield in the WLF flag.
I was right behind the tail, so I couldn't see anything much ahead. So because of that, I got penalized for 30 seconds.
From my reason, I overtook one rider in a WLF flag, and they gave me 30 seconds penalty. Still, I finished first, so I'm very happy with that. So I know this will work here. Let him go. I'll finish second. I was like that.
So you did some
tactics.
Suddenly, Rajkumar, who'd done a great job to come into 4th, he took 3rd.
This weekend, I come up with the consistent timings, and finally, I could make it to podium.
And Enfield and Allwin, who've usually been at the front, took 1st and 2nd, respectively.
So you're always going to come into pit lane, laugh like this, and then you're going to be performing amazingly on the racetrack. That's your strategy.
You don't want to take pressure. Always be chill.
Even when I was in the top, I wasn't overconfident. My way of preparation and the amount of efforts I put in was the same right from the day we came for the selections here. So it will be the same for the next rounds as well.
There are 4 or 5 of them who've been racing for a long time, like Anish and the rest, but there are some newcomers. And I'm in fact more surprised with the newcomers than these guys.
It's easy to think that getting things without a struggle is the best way to do it. Imagine if you showed up racing and everybody was just a heck of a lot slower than you and you won without effort. Would it feel great though? I think some of the best things that happen to us in life happen after we've worked for it, we've struggled for it, we've really put in the effort, time, money to ensure that this goal is achievable for us. That's when we value it, that's when it becomes an achievement. And to me, somebody's winning this race, somebody's coming second, somebody's coming third. But if you talk to all of these racers, they all put in a lot of work and they achieved a better result than the last time around. And that's the thing about struggle. Always makes you better.